All right, hello, this is day 2 of section 6-2 on estimating with percents. We're really technically not estimating in this section. We are going to be kind of actually figuring out the real number since it's so easy to work with a calculator. Okay, so here it says use the graph here to solve exercises 1 through 3. So we have snowboarding ski resort visitors. We have over here the Pacific West. So the Pacific Ocean is the one way on the west coast. Excuse me. So these states would be probably Washington, Oregon, things like that. The Midwest is where we live. So, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, things like that. The Southeast, so Southeast tends to be kind of like Tennessee, South Carolina, those areas. Northeast would be northeastern states would be like Maine and Vermont and Connecticut, and Rocky Mountain area would be, your Colorado region. So it said here, if a ski resort in the Rocky Mountain region had 125 visitors, about how many would be snowboarders? So the Rocky Mountain region on this graph is this bar right here. Okay, so we are going to be estimating a little bit with this because it doesn't tell me the exact percent of snowboarders that we had at this ski resort, but it's somewhere between 20 and 25. And to me, it looks like it's less than halfway. Halfway is 22 and a half. So I'm going to say it's around 21%. Okay. You wouldn't be wrong if you also said 22%. I would be okay with that also. So 21% of 125 visitors, again, of means multiply. So we're going to be doing 0.21 because we have to change that 21% into a decimal before we can multiply by another decimal, which is 125. So we're going to do 21% of 125 visitors. So in Desmos, that's 0.21 times 125, which is 26.25. We are going to estimate by rounding this, so that's about 26 snowboarders. Okay, the next one says, recently at one ski resort, 120 out of 400 guests were snowboarders. In which region is this resort? So again, when I see the words out of, that automatically makes me think fraction. So I can write 120 out of 400 as a fraction, and then I'm going to change that to a percent. So again, to do that, a fraction bar means we're going to divide. So I'm going to do 120 divided by 400, which gives me 0.3. And I want to change this into a percent, so I can kind of look at that over here. So if I move the decimal 2 spots to the right, that ends up being 30%. So here's 30%. Which region tends to have about 30% of its visitors are snowboarders? And that's right here. That's the Midwest. Okay, the next one says, last year, a ski resort in the Northeast region had an average of 556 visitors per weekend. About how many of them were snowboarders? So very same concept here. This time we're dealing with the Northeast region. So I'm going to be looking at this bar. Okay, and this one almost goes up to 25, so I'm going to estimate that to be about 24%. So we're looking at 24% of 556. So I have to change that 24% to a decimal first, which is going to be 0.24. And then 24% of 556 means we're going to multiply by 556. Okay, and that ends up being about 133 visitors if you're to check that on a calculator. Okay, number 4 says, now this is not dealing with this graph anymore. So a large department store has an average of 3,456 shoppers per day, and about 26% of the shoppers buy something in the store. About how many shoppers each day spend money in the store? So we're looking to see what is 26% of this number. Again, of means multiply. So we're going to change this 26% to a decimal, which is 0.26, and then multiply by our other decimal, which is 3,456. This one I'll go ahead and do in decimals. 0.26 times 3456 is 898.56. So I'll go ahead and round that to the nearest shopper, which is going to be about 899. All right, the next one says Latoya bought a new car for $29,000 and she's entitled to an 11% rebate. How much will the car cost after the rebate? So this one's kind of a multi-step, okay? A rebate is when you get money back. You usually have to send in the mail to get money back. They do this at Menards. They have an 11% rebate, right? So you send this form in the mail saying, this is a copy of my receipt, and then they send you this. Well, Menards sends you a credit for the store, but other rebates send you a check for 11% of that amount. So 11% of this amount means we need to multiply. So first I have to change 11% to 0.11, and then I'm going to multiply it to $29,000. So 0.11 times 29,000 is 3,190. So that's going to be the amount of the rebate. That's going to be how much she gets back. So the question, though, is how much will the car cost after the rebate? So this is really a discount amount off of that price. So to figure that out, we're going to take the original cost of the car, which was $29,000, and we're going to subtract the rebate amount, which was $3,190. And that ends up being $25,810. Okay, number 6 says the cost of a video game is $29.95. Sales tax is 6%. How much will the video game cost, including the tax? So first of all, tax is a percent of your purchase. So first, to figure out the tax, we have to take 6% times the amount of the video game. 6% as a decimal is 0.06, and then I'm going to multiply that by $29.95. Okay, and if we need to, we're going to round this to the nearest cent, which we need to here. So after 2 decimal places, we have 79 cents, but this 7 is going to round this up to 80. So the sales tax amount is going to be $1.80. Okay, so that's the tax amount. We want the total cost, including tax. So tax is something that gets added onto your purchase. So we're going to take the original amount, $29.95, and we're going to add that tax on. And that's going to end up costing you $31.75. Number 7 says in 2004, the Brooklyn Public Library spent about $7.6 million on acquisitions. Acquisitions are just new books, new titles, things like that. The Detroit Public Library spent about 26% of that amount. How much money did the Detroit Public Library spend? So again, you see the word of. So we're just trying to figure out what is 26% of 7.6 million. So 26% needs to be changed to a decimal, and that's going to be 0.26. Now 7.6 million means it's 7 million plus whatever. So it's going to be 7 million, and then the 6 comes next, and we need to fill in with zeros until we get to the end. So it's 7,600,000 is equivalent of 7.6 million. Okay, and here is the final amount. It's 1,976,000. What I like about Desmos is it kind of puts little spaces where we would normally put a comma, so it's easier to read that number. So $1,976,000 is what the Detroit Public Library spent on their acquisitions. Okay, in 2002, the average starting salary of a high school teacher in Switzerland was $48,704. And the average starting salary of a high school teacher in the United States was only 61% of that amount. So, how much was the average starting salary in the United States? So, what they're saying is teachers in the US make 61% of that starting salary way back in 2002. So, we have to figure out what is 61% of that. So, 0.61 is what we're going to start with. We're going to change the percent to a decimal. And we're going to multiply by $48,704. Okay, and in the end, all right, 0.61 times 48704 is going to end up being this. It does have cents. I'm going to leave that because this is money, so I am going to leave the decimal in this case. So it's going to be $29,709.44. Not a very high starting salary. If you think about that, 61% is a little over half. So a little over half of 48,000 is 24,000. So this is a reasonable amount. Now, if I'm a teacher, maybe I'm thinking about moving to Switzerland because they pay their teachers more. I don't know. Maybe not. I like you guys here in the United States just fine. All right, let me know if you have any questions on the applications of percents worksheet.